Sam, what does he mean about that control? Just talk us through. It's something you mentioned as well. What does he want to see from his side?
I think he wants to see his team take the game to the opposition a bit more, because they didn't really do that against Crawley Town. I think a lot of Chairboys fans sort of left that game thinking, we could have done better. We could have won that game had we really imposed ourselves on the opposition. I didn't really like the balance of the midfield on Saturday. He went with Leahy, Humphreys and Scowen. Now that's something that Sam Grace tried when he was in interim charge, and something that even Matt Bloomfield tried before that. Since the departure of Aaron Morley on New Year's Day, they have lacked a control in midfield, someone who can sit on the ball and settle things from the base of midfield. Now the problem when you play Leahy, Scowen and Humphreys together, they're all quite attack-minded. Even Scowen these days gets forward and makes tackles and presses high up the pitch. And then you've got Humphreys and Leahy drifting forward trying to create chances. Not one of them holds the midfield. And it was very easy for Crawley to win the ball, and they're very good at turnovers, Crawley, and break forward at pace. And because of that, and Mike Dawes mentioned as well the fact it was 100 mile an hour the game, they never had any control on it, I felt, Wycombe, until the final 10 minutes when Xavier Simons came on, sat in that role I talked about, just in front of the back four in that sort of 6 role, and started getting the ball down and knocking it about for Wycombe, and then they started creating chances, which is exactly why he's in the side tonight, I think, Xavier Simons. That's one of 4 changes, and I completely get it, because since the departure of Aaron Morley, they've missed someone who sits at the base of the midfield and just dictates the tempo. Having a 6 who can do that is so important. I mean, look at Man City and Rodri, how they've been since he's been injured. You know, every team, a 6 who can sit on the ball and settle things from midfield is so important, and I'm really hoping that Simons does that tonight. It's
interesting, isn't it, with Mike Dodds, because he's come into a side that are doing ever so well. That's not always the case, and we have discussed that, Sam. We've talked about how that's often you're often brought into a club when they're doing badly. It doesn't often happen this way round, and he'll want to stamp his own mark, but he doesn't want to shake things up too much, does he? He doesn't want to change too much. The side are second and going for promotion.
Yeah, one thing that the supporters have kind of noticed, though, and sort of picked up on, is the fact that Mike Dodds said that he doesn't want to change too much, which is all well and good, but he's almost kept the continuity from how Wycombe have been playing recently, as in the last maybe 5-6 weeks. But they've not been playing as well in the last 5-6 weeks as they were back in October, November.
Right,
so
that's a good point. Yeah.
They've almost asked him, supporters are sort of saying, why don't you revert back to what we were doing October, November time, rather than continuing what we've been doing since we've lost Aaron Morley. And I think the signing of Xavier Simons is the closest replacement you're going to get to Aaron Morley, who by the way was so, and I mentioned this a few times, he was so important to Wycombe in the first half of the season. I'm amazed, to be honest, Wycombe didn't go out and sign him permanently, Morley, but they've signed Simons, and he looks similar to Morley in the way that he plays. He looks like someone who can dominate the midfield and get the ball down and start passing it from the base. Similarly, he's also brought in Caleb Taylor to play alongside Joe Lote. First time that's happened since New Year's Day. Caleb Taylor was re-signed by West Brom at the end of the window, but Sonny Bradley's been in the team and has been playing well, but he's gone back to Taylor and Lowe, the same partnership we saw in the first half of the season when Wycombe went on that amazing winning run. So it looks a lot more similar to the kind of team we saw in October, November time, rather than the team we've seen over the last few weeks. So I think supporters will be happy with the setup tonight.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at this, you're not just looking at this game against Bristol Rovers. You're probably looking at the next 2 games, both at home against Bristol Rovers and Wigan. Both what you would describe as winnable games with regards to the other sides. Especially with the fact that the third game in the 3 games is Birmingham away. Are they looking for 6 points? Do they need 6 points from this week?
I think they do. I think I looked at the beginning of February, I looked at the next 4 fixtures, which were Cambridge, Crawley Town, Bristol Rovers and Wigan, and I thought you should be aiming for probably 3 wins out of those 4. They've drawn the first 2, so I think they need to win tonight and then win again against Wigan, because you're looking at Wrexham. They've not slipped up since that defeat against Stevenage 3 weeks ago. They've gone on a mini winning run since then, so they're hot on the heels of Wycombe now, just a 2-point gap, and Wrexham are showing no signs of slowing down, especially the way they recruited in January. So the pressure is on Wycombe to win games like this, because in March, they've got to play Birmingham, they've got to play Wrexham, they've got to play Rotherham, and then in April, likes of Bolton, Charlton, Stockport, they've got to play. They're in fine form. So it's a difficult run-in for Wycombe. They've got to pick up points in these kind of games.
Tell you what, Stockport aren't out of it, are they? Stockport are in there. Wrexham play Leyton Orient tonight, and that's not going to be an easy game with Leyton Orient. Leyton Orient are pushing to be one of the teams in the playoff places, but Stockport aren't out of it at all, are they?
No, another reason why I think it's pivotal tonight that Wycombe try and get 3 points, because if Wrexham do drop points against an informed Leyton Orient side, then you extend that gap again. I mean, they were six points clear of Wrexham going into February with a winnable run of games, Wycombe, and now it's 2 points, and you're just thinking they've missed out a few opportunities, to be honest, in those last few games, and they want to try and extend that gap again.